Welcome back to episode 52 of the Shy Sports Weekly podcast. We got a great show coming your way, folks. Big guest, Joey Mulinaro, joined us for an interview. Had a great time talking to him. But first, Ty Kyle, how are we doing?
Hi, Kyle. How we doing? Fellas, big guest this week. Big guest, Joey Mulinaro. He's phenomenal. Exactly what you would expect him to be. Funny as shit. Great guy.
What an awesome guy. He's just like very relatable, you know?
Yeah, just a guy you want to have a couple dozen
Just a
beers at the
guy's
bleachers
guy.
with. Steelers. He's literally the love child of this podcast because he's a Cubs and Steelers fan.
Yeah, he is.
But he's
what
way
we call
funnier.
the best of both worlds.
And then he started talking like Kyle at the end of the show.
Then he just started ripping on my voice, which was phenomenal. I had a great time with it. No, it's good to be back. Love talking to you guys. How was the weekend? Ty, I'm going to ask you because I was with Max in Milwaukee watching the Cubs get stuffed.
Get stuffed.
He chose the wrong game.
Yeah.
Yes.
Golf in the first round of the year Saturday, 114. Shout out, dude. Just fucking nowhere to go but up from here.
A cool 114.
Cool.
Thanks for coming.
runnings,
Keep the change.
114. It's what you get for paying $90 to golf. And of course, you don't belong golfing it. Then yeah, I just drank a bunch of beer Saturday and fucking mowed the lawn at the house for the first time on
Nice.
Sunday, dude. Just got out
Hearing
there.
about
on
a
the
lot of
grass.
people mowing their lawn this past weekend.
Oh yeah,
Must have been that time.
it's that time, dude.
Hey, when was the last time a Saturday went by and you didn't have a bunch of beers?
That's a good.
So
fucking
far, we
question.
haven't gotten an answer.
That's because
A lot of laughs.
the answer is the
Apparently, he doesn't want to
limit
answer.
does not exist.
What was the
Yeah,
answer there?
The
Cubs
limit
games,
does not exist.
Okay.
the Cubs game Saturday, other than the score, I got to say, Miller Park in April, it's no longer called Miller Park. I know that, but I'm just going to continue to call it that. Is a
That's
place to
Miller Park.
watch a game in the Midwest. It was like thunderstorming during the game outside. Roof was closed. It was probably 70 degrees in there.
Yeah, I'll second that motion. That it was very nice in there. And I hate the Brewers in general. They suck.
Not a bad seat in the house either. I mean, we were behind home plate, probably 10 rows from the wall.
Yeah.
In the upper deck. And we had a good time.
Yeah, we were ripping on Bernie the Brewer, that ugly prick. He's got a sweet slide, though. I'm kind of jealous.
It's got a
I
sweet
like
third
Cubs
base,
money
you
line.
said?
I had Cubs money line, got smoked. That kind of sucked, but you know what? We had fun. That's all that matters. We're having a good time.
They won on getaway day.
Yeah. It's what have you done for me lately? And guess what? They're 1-0 on their last one.
Mhm.
Undefeated in May.
Nice little birthday win for the Stroh show.
He dominated. That was phenomenal. Let's jump into into number 52s. Can I start?
No, Khalil Mack.
Fuck. Brad Miller,
We're going rapid fire.
Yeah.
Justin Grimm.
Pat Mahomes, Senior.
What? Stop the bus.
Hey, put a record scratch thing in there right after I said Pat
Really?
Mahomes. In 2002. How about that?
No shit. I didn't even know that. The more
Yeah,
you
I was-
know.
The more you know. You're welcome. Eric Gustafson. He sucks.
John Garland.
He was number 52. I thought he was number 20
He was, but I think he was 52 for a couple seasons first.
for a hot second.
No, it says 3 years here.
Oh, well, fuck me. I'm trying to find the first player.
How
to
about
win
we
number
end with
52.
Jose Contreras?
That dude was a beast. Plain and simple. That dude's splitter. Oof.
I was about to say wasn't it his splitter, the big pitch?
Yeah.
I feel like he had a nickname, right? Like it was like
No, you're thinking of Orlando
El Duque.
Hernandez.
El Duque was Orlando Hernandez. Right?
Yeah. But
Carlos Lee was El Caballo. Like
yep. I forgot about him. And wow. Remember Maglio Ordonez? I feel like he was like such a legend and never got talked about.
true, because he went to Detroit.
Like, how many years did this guy play with the Sox? I'm looking it up right now. Like, Mags played 8 years with the Sox, hit almost 200 home runs. This guy, I mean, it's two different eras, but He's literally has better numbers than the Cub with the Sox than Chris Bryant did with the Cubs. It's crazy.
That's interesting. Yeah.
There's a fun fact.
Mags. All right, let's do some on this days then, huh? How about it?
Let's do it.
Two real good ones. All right. Let's start off May 6, 1998. I'm sure this is a game that Max, you remember very well, being 4 years old, almost to the day. Kerry Wood, 20 strikeouts. You've probably seen the highlights a million times. What's your favorite part of that game?
His curveball.
I
Thing was literally falling off the table.
I was watching it, the last strikeout today. I think my favorite part is Chip Carey before the pitch is even thrown, just screaming, "Here comes the hook!"
Yeah,
and
you gotta love the classic K signs in the outfield too. Like
right, those are the best.
Yeah,
they need to bring those back. Those
definitely need to start handing those out again.
I cannot believe that that's like not a thing anymore. That people don't use or have the. I mean, I guess the Cubs all have soft tossing starting pitchers, so there's really they're going to bring like
K's a K, dude. It's also interesting if you rewatch the highlight how high the backstop was.
Yeah, before they renovated anything.
Yeah,
that's another crazy thing. It's kind of cool.
So
little throwback.
I love Kerry Wood. I mean, what else is there to say? He didn't have like his career didn't pan out probably the way that he imagined it would, but with the stats that he had, like it's interesting how much of a Cubs legend he is. I think that just shows you how much of a likable guy he was in the city.
I mean, and also 2003 didn't hurt, and then he came back in 2008, had 30 some saves.
True.
So that helps. All right, let's do the second one here. May 8th, 2015. Derrick Rose hits a buzzer beater in the East semis over the Cavs. This is the game where he hits the banks in the buzzer beater and then just jumps into Joakim Noah's arms.
Short hair Derrick Rose.
Short hair Derrick Rose. Not that short. Not that short. This is when he started growing it out.
You have the little baby fro going?
Yeah, he had the baby fro. It's poofy, but still, I feel like this is one of the more iconic moments in his career, his Bulls career.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that well.
And then I'm pretty sure the Bulls just lost the next three, but we're not going to talk about those. I love D Rose. I know we talk about him a lot, but there's a reason we talk about him a lot.
We do, but that's okay.
That's fine. Besides that, I don't want to bore you with any small talk here. Let's just jump into Joey Mulinaro.
Let's kick it over to the interview. All right, folks, we got a big guest on the show this week, one that we've been excited about all week. Joey Mulinaro joining the Shy Sports Weekly pod. Joey, thanks for coming on.
What's up, fellas? Good to talk to you. Always good to be on with some fellow Cubs fans and what I just learned, a Pittsburgh Steelers fan as well. So that is very exciting.
Yeah, so I mean, we're gonna definitely get into your Cubs Steelers fandom, but let's start from just kind of growing up. So like you grew up in Indiana, correct?
Yep, Indianapolis, South Side Catholic kid.
So how did you become like where does the Steelers connection come in and where does the Cubs connection come in?
Yes, a very popular question that I get asked, probably next to, can you do a Nick Saban for me? Or have you, now that I've met Cowherd, that's one less that I get. But yeah, people are always for whatever reason, very concerned and interested in who I root for and why. So I grew up south side of Indianapolis. Whole family's from there. And so my dad, I get it from my dad. I mean, he grew up without the Colts because they didn't come to Indy until 1984. So by that time, my dad was already a teenager and was already well invested into, they didn't have a team and the Steelers were the team of the 70s. And, I mean, you either root for the Steelers or the Cowboys if you didn't have a team, right? So he picked the Steelers, and my uncle, who's a few years younger than him, actually picked the Cowboys, and they're both still fans of those teams to this day. So that's all I grew up with. That's all I knew. So, he passed it down to me. And then same thing with the Cubs. I mean, we didn't have a Major League Baseball team. We still don't. We have the Indians, who are the AAA affiliate of your Pirates, right? But if you're growing up in the Midwest area, the Indiana, I mean, Indianapolis especially, like Cubs are 3 hours away. Wrigley, they're always on TV. WGN back in the day, Harry Carey from my dad, right? And Ryan Sandberg, right? I mean, so he just fell in love with him and his brother both. And so that's all I've known my whole life is Steelers football in the fall and Cubs baseball in the summer. And luckily we got into the fall with them, more and more here a few years ago, which was great. But yeah, so that's my professional allegiances in terms of baseball and football. But I mean, I'm a Pacers fan. Yeah, but I'm an Indiana Pacers fan. Always have been. I'm a diehard Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Indy 500, IndyCar, all that. I mean, it's a very big part of my life. So, for all the people on Twitter and whatnot who want to come at me in my DMs or mentions about my fandom and how it's annoying and whatever, I'm like, okay, so NFL and NFL and Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball, we don't even have a team. What are you talking about?
Right.
And then, but with the Pacers and IMS, like I still have allegiances to that very much. So that is the fandom in a nutshell. And one thing that's interesting to me is always like people are like, oh, he's bandwagon. I'm like, the Cubs have sucked really since like forever. But then, they had that really great run. But I mean, since 2016, the NLCS in 2017, right? But I mean, like, what if I have hopped off the bandwagon by now? I mean, the Steelers haven't won a playoff game since 2016 too.
Yeah, sounds like you're about as loyal of a fan as it gets.
So some bandwagon, right? I mean, like, I don't. Whatever, but it is what it is. So
that is the worst though. When people are like, "How you live in Chicago? How the fuck are you Steelers fans?" Like, I don't know, man. It is what it is,
I mean, a better question for a lot of people is, how the fuck are you still a Bears fan?
Right. Yeah. Okay. You still living off 1985. All right. I don't know, man. It's a really interesting thing. And like, I think that there should be some like sociology classes, spend some chapters on like studying the human brain and why people care about who people root for. So
I did it for 4 years. Yeah.
It's always like a 38-year-old guy who has like him and like his like toddler child in his profile picture. I'm like, go feed your kid. Why do you care? Like, what?
You get a lot of DMs of people being pissed about that. I mean, I could see like, some trolls, but like, I can't imagine actually being pissed. Like, who gives a fuck who you root for?
No, you would very much be surprised, my friend. It is,
It's probably like Baker Mayfield's burner.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not gonna stop rooting for those teams. I mean, I love them my whole life. It's just like an annoying internet aspect that you got to deal with,
Yeah. Well, the next question we had teed up for you was, can you do a Nick Saban?
Perfect. No, I was waiting on it. Yeah. 1-2.
No, but in all seriousness, you got to be more excited about the Steelers right now than the Cubs after they just took Kenny Pickett in the first round.
Yes, the excitement is very much there for a variety of reasons. I'm love Kenny, love the pick. I've been lucky enough over the past year to where me and Kenny have gotten to become buddies and get to talk to him and everything. And so like leading up to it, I was always like, man, I want this to happen. We all want it to happen, but like, I don't think, you know what I mean? Like, I think he'll be off the board. Like, I just don't know if at 20, if we can do it. Right. And he's like, I know, bro, like it'd be great, but whatever. And then there you go, man, it happened. And I mean, my whole family just went ballistic, right? We're all watching it together. And I mean, we're watching Franco's reaction when he sees the card, right? And we're like, what is this name that he's reacted to? Like, I mean, I guess it makes sense now in 2020, but like the way he was looking at it was like they were bringing back Mean Joe Green in his prime to, be selected by him. And I was like, what is happening here? And so I think the future is bright on a variety of reasons. I mean, I really don't think there's that many glaring holes on that roster that when you think about, yes, they took your guy from the Bears, they signed him in free agency to beef up the offensive line. They have all pros at all three levels on defense. They got Miles Jack to invest in the linebacker core, and Kenny Pickett's going to come in and he's going to have a bunch of playmakers around him. And right. As much as we love Ben Roethlisberger for 18 years of service, I mean, if that version of Big Ben can help take that team to the playoffs, then you have to feel good about a young gun who's mobile, who's just got this charisma about him like Kenny has. So,
Yeah.
and with Mitch, I'm not out on Mitch either. I'm
Really
not out
not.
on Mitch
That's where we're
Trubisky,
going.
dude.
I was just gonna say you think Favre, Rodgers, Bledsoe, Brady, and then you think Trubisky, Pickett. Like,
right, yeah, that's gonna and the lore of the NFL. That's what's gonna be in like 30 years. But
That's what you were saying that you signed somebody from Chicago. The first thing I thought of was Mitch. I was like, oh yeah, here we go. Let's talk about Mitch. I forgot about James Daniels.
Yeah, James Daniels, dude. I was all the hardcore like film people and guys who break it down that I follow. They're getting me excited about Daniels coming in and helping the O line. But yeah, Mitch. I mean, I'm still excited about him. I mean, I think a change of scenery is great, and I think in the offense that Matt Canada wants to run, his kind of skill set would be great for it. And I mean, look, I'm not trying to claim that he's going to be Josh Allen or Joe Burrow or anything like that, but I think he'll be solid and keep us in it. And if he's even playing, because Kenny very likely could come in and be the guy from day one. So I'm just excited, man. It's it's a fresh start. We got we were all waiting for a while. It was like this thing we didn't want it to end, but we wanted it to end with Big Ben, and and it's over, and it's clean, and it's a fresh start. So it's exciting.
Sure.
Why not that last season with Ben? Like you were mentioning, like you want him to go, but you don't want him to go. It's tough when it's a Steelers legend, but at the same time, like, come on, he was like he could not move. He was not a starting quarterback anymore.
No, I put on my cowherd hat like in the middle of the season, and I was like, I made an analogy of, look, like Big Ben is like, when you're a parent and you've had your baby that you love, who you've been through it all with for 18 years at your house, but like, okay, not you're officially an adult now. Like we love you, but like you can't stay here. Like you need to move out. You need to like get onto something, like get out of our basement, get out of our hair. We're still gonna love you. You can still come over for dinner. You can still come over for birthday parties. Obviously, like love you, but it's time to go our separate ways a little bit. Like that's how I looked at it with Big Ben, and especially this last year. It was season 18. All these things of, yeah, dude, like we're always grateful for the memories, for the Super Bowls, for the wins, like come back for the anniversary teams, all that. Hope to see you around, even though I know we won't. But it's just time to move on to different things. And now here we are with Kenny Pickett, and I don't think anybody could be more thrilled.
Yeah. Najee Harris is a great player, but he can't be getting 25 targets in a game. That's just not a good sign.
They can't let him turn into Le'Veon Bell.
Sure. Yeah, no, it's definitely a concern. And Najee is I love Najee, the player, the personality. I think he's eccentric, he's interesting, he's very charismatic. He's a lot of great things with that guy. But yeah, I mean, Benny Snell, Anthony McFarland, somebody's got to be reliable for number 2 so that, like you said, Najee's not getting the hell beat out of him, and it's Terrell Davis, Le'Veon Bell, 3 great years, and then see it. So
during that Steelers Chiefs playoff game, was there any part of you that actually thought the Steelers were going to pull that upset off? Like after the TJ Watt pick 6, right? That was a pick 6 he had, or was it a fumble recovery?
Scoop and score.
The scoop and score.
The briefest of moments during that commercial break.
That's the best. That's literally the best, though.
That's why we watch.
Oh yeah, dude, absolutely. Like, and I remember I wrote a blog earlier that week, and I was just like, look, like, yes, it is like a 98.6% chance that we're just going to get blasted in this game. But like, you live for that extra week of ball. You live knowing that you get to throw your jersey on, wake up on game day, get your terrible towel, get together with like you live for that. Like that's the best, like you said, like that's the best part of being a fan. And yeah, I mean, I think, for that commercial break, I was like, wow, this is starting to kind of feel like one of those weird, like Peyton Manning era teams where like they're so potent, but then they're kind of rusty in the playoffs, and you just catch them on a bad night. But then the ensuing drive with the Chiefs, it was like, nope, that's, it was fun while it lasted. And, but yeah, man, never forget that moment. that was a fun one.
I have nothing against the Steelers, so I'm pulling for them this year. I hope Pickett works out for you guys.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I mean, like, I think that's what's fun too. Is like AFC, NFC like that. I mean, we only see each other every like 4 years. We only travel to Chicago every 8 years. Same with you guys in Pittsburgh. Like, it's not like it's like a rivalry. It's just like, oh yeah, the Bears are over there doing their thing, the Steelers are over there doing their thing, and they're both blue collar kind of physical franchises, historic franchises.
Yeah.
So you have that kind of mutual respect in that for sure.
I think that Monday Night Football game was rigged this year, though. That flag, they should have called that flag on Cassius Marsh.
Yeah,
NFL's rigged.
That ref had oily hips.
That was very
check
weird.
my guy. No, it was fine.
That was very weird. I was at that game. I was me and my wife were at that game, and my parents were at that game, and I mean, it was a very weird, like, kind of run out of the stadium and don't look back, you got to win kind of game, But I don't know. It was like we shouldn't even been in that position in the first place. But
no, you guys should have just absolutely pummeled us. Just kind of two mediocre teams at that point.
Yep.
So I tuned into your most recent podcast episode. You guys are pretty fired up for the Indy 500 later this month. Talk to us about the Indy 500, what that experience is like. Few guys on this podcast that are not into racing, and explain to us why it's such an awesome event.
Well, the Indianapolis 500 is the single largest sporting event in one day in the world. There's 350,000 people in the same venue, probably 400,000 or so in the vicinity of the region, not just in the stadium, not the stadium, but the track itself. So it's a worldwide thing, right? And just beyond that, being from here, growing up here, I mean, it's just so ingrained into everything that we do. I mean, even if you didn't grow up a race fan or part of a racing family, it's just like, oh yeah, the track every Memorial Day weekend. We know it as a Memorial Day weekend because of what it means, right? For the troops and for honoring them. So I don't want to cross it in that way, but like what I'm saying is that just around here, like growing up, it's just like race weekend, instead of Memorial Day weekend, it's like, oh, well, that's race weekend. Yeah. And the two, they go hand in hand, but we just refer to it as like, oh, that's race weekend. Right. And it's just, it truly is one of those things that you have to experience it for yourself to understand. I could sit here and talk until I'm blue in the face, until I have no voice about the spectacle of it all and how it's the biggest sporting event in the world in a single day and how the cars go so fast. But it's never going to register with you until you're a part of it on that day.
Two words: snake pit.
Yeah, isn't there like a music festival in the pit?
Yeah,
basically while the race is going on?
I've done 1 year in the snake pit and then 1 year like tailgating by the track. And I'll tell you what, tailgating by the track is 10 out of 10 the way to go. Like 100%. Snake pit was a fucking disaster.
Snake pit is, how old are you guys?
27.
Late 20s. Yeah.
Okay. Your time in the snake pit is
oh
bad.
yeah, this was. I was freshly 21 and I hated it.
Yeah. You gotta really, you have to be in that phase of your life where you just,
in college probably.
Well, your parents think, one of your parents are like, you're invincible. Like you have to be in that phase where you're like just willing to just like do a whole bunch of stupid shit, be uncomfortably hot. Like the snake pit is wild. It's a rave. If you like that lifestyle, if you're 17 to 23, I say go for it. Go for it as long as you can. But if you guys are like me, like you said, and you're on the tail end down to 30, it's past your time. That's okay. But like you said, that's fine. You have this huge thing going on. It's cool to be like, oh, holy shit, that's going on over there while the cars are going 230 around. But it's still just as fun and right more up our alley to, tailgate outside the track, just outside the track, go into the track with your cooler, sit in turn two, have the sun on you, drinking Miller Lights, having these cars whiz past you, man, having the flyovers that they do, and taps there is unbelievable, right? Because it's Memorial Day weekend, and you have
Right.
350,000 people, and they play taps, and it's, I mean, 350,000 people, and literally the phrase "you hear a pin drop, you could." It's chills. It's incredible. But it's just, it's a way of life here, man. It's like with Chicago, like people who are Cubs are like, people hold Wrigley and that kind of
Sacred almost.
sacred. Exactly. That's the exact. Thank you. Like it's sacred. It's a way of life around here. And it's just super important to us, man. It's
That's awesome.
It's
Especially Memorial Day weekend. It's like the true kickoff to summer. Like the vibes are just probably through the roof.
Immaculate.
Right. 100%, man. And it's just, it's a family thing. It's a generational thing. Just like, if your dad and grandpa or whatever was out in the bleachers and back in 1962, and then you're in the bleachers, it's the same thing, man. It's really, really special. So we're fired up for it.
No, that's awesome. We'll have to get down there. I had to let you talk about it at least a little, because I'm sure that same guy with 11 followers on Twitter is in your DMs saying, what's so cool about, race cars driving around in circles and this and that.
Yeah, for sure. People, I mean, you guys know, people just like to
It's the bitch
about everything instead of just have fun and enjoy things and live life. So it is what it is.
So now, do you follow a specific driver, or like, we're not like the biggest race car, smartest people in general, I guess, but like, is there a person that you follow, or what's that like?
That's another interesting thing that really has drawn me into motorsports over the last few years is you're like, yes, you have different drivers, and there are people who have like their driver, F the other drivers, that's who they ride with, and that's great. But it's more so you just appreciate the sport itself. You're a race fan. Like you enjoy IndyCar, you enjoy NASCAR, you enjoy watching the race and people making passes and the crashes and the strategy behind all that. But then also, like, even with that being said, it's not frowned upon as much, at least that I've found, to pull for multiple guys, right? Like I've been lucky enough that I have, I've known Connor, who I do Speed Street with for a long time. He's a friend of mine. And so I pull for him, obviously. But then I've been lucky enough to get to know like Alexander Rossi and Joseph Newgarden and Colton Herta. And you want to see all these guys do well,
Right.
And even if they don't take the checkered flag one weekend, a top 5 finish, you're like, oh, hell yeah. Like they had a good day. It's like if you have, a favorite baseball player who's, I like him. He, 2 for 4 at the plate, drove in some runs. Like, sweet. That's a good day.
It sounds strikingly similar to golf. Like,
Yeah.
It's like you have a bunch of guys who you could easily root for. There's guys who you like, there's guys who you probably don't like. But on any given day, whoever wins, like you said, a top 5, top 10, you're happy for those guys.
100%. There's a lot of similarities with racing and golf in those ways. And, they're like, but they're still like with golf, with like the Bryson and the Brooks stuff, right? Like Tiger and Phil back in the day or whatever. Like there still are those different rivalries and people who, like, just over this weekend, yesterday, Graham Rahal, Roman Grosjean got into it because Grosjean was like bumping Rahal. And so then like he was calling him out. So you have these little like rivalries and everything. And then you like the drama and you get into it a little bit there. But I mean, everybody has their certain drivers that they like, or like, certain especially for the 500, right? It's like, oh, I really hope this guy wins this year. That'd be great. Like Marco Andretti, like let's get an Andretti to win the 500 again, like things like that. You see that a lot. So that's something that's really fun about racing too.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's just guys doing cool shit that you would never be able to do. So
Right,
you're just like, this is awesome and fun to watch.
Not everybody, but a lot of people have played high school football, right? So we all kind of sit here and, make fun of Mitch when he, misses a guy on 2nd and 7, right? Because it's like, well, I kind of like, I had the helmet on, right? Not a lot of us had gone 230, plus around a track, or, have teed off at Augusta or anything like that. So I think you find that with golf and motorsport for sure.
Now, will you gamble on this? Will you have is gambling legal in Indiana?
Yeah,
it is. So now will you sprinkle any money on it?
Oh yeah, that's That's another part of the fun part of motorsport and of racing is, you get in, you pick your guys, and there's always plus odds. Everything's, unless
money.
it's like someone to finish top 10, like in NASCAR, like Chase Elliott to finish top 10. I mean, he's one of the best. So you'll get like a minus 120 there or something. But,
Right.
For the most part, even if it's the best guy in the racing, in the field, for like the Indy 500 coming up, let's say, Joseph Newgarden, Scott Dixon, Colton Herta, all those guys are heavy hitters that could very well likely will be favorites to win. They're still like plus 900 to win the 500, right? You do NASCAR, same kind of deal, but then in NASCAR you could have, all right, I want this guy to top 3 finish, I want this guy top 5 finish. So yeah, a bunch of different ways to bet on motorsports.
So who would you say that we should take for our top 3 if you were to give out picks, which you're not, but if you were, who should I be betting on for the 500?
Yeah.
Responsibly sprinkling
on Memorial Day weekend, the greatest spectacle in racing. I think this year you can't go wrong with Joseph Newgarden. He is he's coming for it. He's due. He's already won twice this year. He's part of Team Penske. They're a powerhouse in IndyCar. If you want to, don't really have any interest in looking more into it, and you're just like, hey, I'll put down however much you're responsibly going to put
Sprinkle
down.
responsibly.
Joseph's going to be a safe bet. Yeah.
I mean, you could have said any name, literally any name, and I would.
Yeah, I had my pen ready, writing it down.
Yeah, I wrote the name down.
Yeah.
Thanks for the locks.
There you go. Yeah, no problem.
I love it. Well, we kind of want to real quick get into your comedy background and how you, I'll say, grew up like with that, or fell in love with
started,
that.
I guess.
Yeah. So I guess if you can jump into that, I mean, growing up, like, did you have any comedic idols, or just, I guess, what was the background behind your getting into comedy?
Yeah, man. I grew up so my dad and my uncle and my grandpa, so I'm from like a big Italian family, right? So when we all get together, it's people yelling, talking over each other. Like you had to really make a presence known to get some attention, to get a laugh, right? And so my uncle and my dad and my grandpa would always just kill, right, at family gatherings, and I was like, man, that's great. Like, I love that. Like, these guys are so funny. And then if I got them to laugh, I was like, oh, that's the best feeling, right? And so they always they're huge movie guys and like SNL historian type of dudes who love those classic sketches and would always talk about them. And so we all bonded over that big time. So that was my first into it, where I was like, man, that's the best. But then growing up in South Side of Indy, it's like, what? I mean, how do you even? That's not even that's not even an option, right? Like, how do you get into entertainment and comedy or whatever? So yeah, then I just started in college, kind of branching out and doing different. I was like, I just want to go for it. I want to create some stuff. So I started doing these sketches and creating things on my own, right? And just trying to go for it. And really kind of what turned it is, one of your boys from Second City, he's not a Chicago guy, he's an honorary Chicago guy, Chris Farley. It was a documentary I watched on him my senior year, and it was the I Am Chris Farley documentary. I don't know if you guys saw that or not. Mm-hmm. It was really good. And his buddies were talking about him and kind of how they started getting into it. And they were just some Catholic kids, and they always talked about the clown's prayer. And there was this prayer that, I have it tattooed on me now. The final stanza of it is, and in my final moment, may I hear you whisper, when you made my people smile, you made me smile. And I was like, wow, that just struck me. It was like a purpose, I was like, that's incredible. Right. Mm-hmm. And so I saw and heard that they did that, and that's what inspired them, and it inspired me. I was like, okay, because you're 20, 21, 22 or whatever, you remember that, you're like, what am I doing? What am I doing next? There's so much swirling around you. You're partying, you're chasing girls, you got to graduate, you got to get a job. What's going on? Is this my life? Holy shit. And then it was like, that's what I want to do. I want to do what I wanted to do when I was 7 years old at the family table, and I want to make people laugh.
That's awesome.
So then I yeah, like I started branching out and creating and like failed a bunch of times and nobody cared and nobody retweeted and nobody really watched. And it was like those weird things. I'd like be out at the bar, right? And people would be like, oh yeah, I saw that thing you did. And yeah, that was funny. And I was like, oh God, this sucks. But I was like, you know what? I'll have such regret if I like don't go for it, you know? And so yeah, then I just kept doing that. And the guy I do a lot of videos with, Ben Polizzi, me and him grew up together, and we were like, let's do this, man. Come on, let's
Johnson.
guy. So he was like a big brother to me too. He grew up 3 years older than me in the same high school and same grade school. And so here we were, these two Italian Southside Catholic kids. We're like, let's just try to be funny and do some stuff. So we did that for like 3 or 4 years. And then, I started like doing impressions, throwing those in. And then the impressions is kind of what like got my foot in the door of like people following me and noticing, all that shit. And, dude. So from there, I just like kept doing the impressions, kept doing sketches. And then Barstool came calling. And, I went with them and I worked with them for 2 years, signed a 2-year deal with them. And the pandemic happened and all that shit was crazy. And, so yeah, man, I mean, at the end of the day, what it comes down to is that tattoo I have, and what I look at is just like my purpose on earth. And that's just to keep like bringing smiles to people, making people laugh, having fun. And that's really why I got into it. It's why I'm still into it. And kind of in 5 minutes, that's the story.
That's awesome, man. I love that story. That's great.
Thanks, dude.
Well, you're definitely succeeding. And I feel like your stuff is always like pretty original and fresh, which is awesome too. You see a lot of people kind of recycle the same jokes or do the same stuff over and over. All your new videos are like must watch.
Thanks, man. You guys are all familiar with baseball, obviously. I think that, because I played baseball growing up so much, and it always, it was always ingrained in my head, like, hey, you got a fastball. What else you got? Like you keep them off balance. You got to change up, right? You got a curveball. It's going to buckle them a little bit. Like, oh, and then you come back with a fastball and the fastball looks even faster now. Like, and so that just kind of stuck in my head. And so even with like the content that I do and my work, it's like, I just always want to keep pushing, right? Keep challenging, keep pushing. And again, with the baseball mentality, it's like, if I pop out to the catcher, come back in the next at bat and fucking hit it out of the park, And so I think that oddly enough, the playing baseball my whole life growing up, that mentality is rubbed off on what I do now. So it's just funny how things work out like that,
Yeah. So I guess I wanted to ask about like your impersonations. Like what is the process? How do you perfect these? Like you mentioned the Nick Saban one earlier, and obviously you've done it a million times. It's fucking hilarious. I love the Coach O one. Go Tigers. But like do you just like sit there and just kind of practice different inflections, or like how does that happen?
So I'd say kind of from start to finish is like I'll be watching something, or I'll see something or someone or an interview or whatever it is, and I'll be like, that person has a pretty interesting dialect. They have a pretty interesting way of like delivering. I think maybe I could do that. So then, like I'll, kind of just to myself off the bat, I'll be like, am I even in the range? Right. And then from there, I'll set it up, my camera, and I'll press record, and, I'll kind of mock something. I'll, Nick Saban at the BMV or Coach O ordering Starbucks, or Chris Collinsworth talking to his son. I don't know, like
Mel Kiper doing draft day foods.
Mel Kiper draft day foods, right? So I'll do these, and then I'll hit record, and I'll try to do my best to get into that character, and then just go for 30 seconds or whatever. And then I'm like, okay, if I feel good, I'll watch it back. All right, those, I think I can, get my my throat, my vocal cords a little bit lower, or I think that I can hit this mannerism a little bit more. And then from there, if I feel good about it, then, I'll put it out there. So that from start to finish, I think that's kind of 1, 2, 3, 4 out there.
Nice.
Do you have a favorite person to impersonate? Like, is Coach O your favorite, or Saban, or who is it? Or do you have one that just completely bombed, that you're like trying so hard to get that you just couldn't, like you could not get their vocal tone down?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of one that I mean, there's something fun about. Sorry, my dog. You know.
Oh, no worries.
Now we echo that somebody.
Now my
else-
dogs are barking. Shut up.
there
Hey,
you go.
easy, easy.
Now there's something fun about each of them. Really, they're like. Gosh, now you guys. Great. This is yeah. Best.
This is good radio.
No worries. If it's not your dog, it's Kyle's dog, so it's cool.
My dogs are always barking.
They're talking to each other.
I have no idea what's going on.
Come on,
It's always the dogs.
lay down. But the ones that I've kind of become like known for, whatever people request the most. There's something fun about each one of them. With like Cowherd, it's like coming up with the analogy that he's going to do is the fun part. Collinsworth, you love the slide in. Kuiper, the head nod at the beginning. Saban just getting more and more pissed. Like, right, there's Fallon like laughing at everything, even though it's not funny. Like, there's something about them that are all, I'm like, oh, that's always fun to do.
Have you done a Belichick? Just like,
that's the thing too, is like,
microphone.
Yeah, that's the thing too, is like, so besides Kuiper, I tried to, because Caliendo is like he's always been a big influence on me.
Yeah.
Like, he's kind of like a mentor now. Like, he's great. But I've always tried to like, he was really known for like is really known for like John Gruden, John Madden. Kuiper was a big one for him. George Bush, right? The presidents, all that. So I always tried to like, I was like, well, that's Frank's thing,
Yeah,
but Kuiper, I was always like, it's so fun doing. And like, I feel like I can do it well, but we always like, we came to find out that he has a different Kuiper than I do. Like, his is more on like the Todd, right?
Yeah.
Like the concern, right? Like that, so you can have these impressions that are like different. I think that's something I wish more people understood is, it's such a big space, man. Like, there's room out there for everybody to do all sorts of different things, right? Like, Frank has a Kuiper. I also have a Kuiper. There's a guy out there who does a really good Howard Stern. I've done some Howard Stern. It's like, there's a guy out there I've seen who does an Owen Wilson. I do an Owen Wilson. Like, that, it shouldn't be like oh man, they're like, it's a big space out there. Everybody's impression is going to be different. They're going to pick up on different things that these people do. No big deal. I'd say one that I tried that didn't go well that I wish did, because I'm such a big fan of his. And I mean, he's like, I've watched him my whole life, is Adam Sandler. I tried to do a scenario with him like a year or two ago, and it just bombed. But I was like, okay, like, it was like, okay, back to the drawing board. Like,
Right.
people didn't like the Sandler. All right, that's fine. They don't like the Sandler, but then I've discovered like a Burr. I could do a good Burr. So, it's just an interesting process, man. And the thing is that like, just how we all don't like the same kind of music, things hit our ears differently. There'll be, I could have 5 people sitting in a room, and I could do whoever I do, and 3 people will be like, wow, that's spot on. One person will be like, the mannerisms were there. I didn't really hear it with the ears. And one person will be like, fuck you, go kill yourself, you suck.
That's Twitter in a nutshell.
They say welcome to Twitter.
yeah, right. So that's just how it is, man. And I've luckily grown up since my early days of doing it, and just kind of accepted that. The people who like it will like it, and the people who don't won't. And that's just how it is. So
how's your Peter Griffin?
I was just about to say that. Oh my God, words out of my mouth.
Well, that's like, I don't know if you guys have this, but every female in my life hates nothing more than that show. Like, my mom, my sister, my wife, all fucking hate it. And so it's like, I very rarely get the chance to have it on anymore because they all hate it so much. Peter, I don't know. I haven't really done him much. I tried to do a Joe Swanson one time. Because I don't know how big a Family Guy fans you are, but that one,
Pretty big.
yeah, good.
Pretty big.
That one dude, or not that one dude, that one bit where they're sitting at the clam, and he's like,
hey, Quagmire, do yourself a favor, don't get married. And Quagmire's like, I wasn't. And then Joe just keeps saying, perfect. Don't. He's like, I wasn't gonna. Good. No. Like that bit is so funny. Me and my brother-in-law do it all the time. I tried to do a TikTok with it one time, and like it was mild. It did, fine, but it wasn't anything crazy. No,
Gotta
so
get
my Family
you
Guy
and Max
impressions
doing a
weren't
whole
that great.
conversation.
What's
You
that?
have to hear Max's Peter Griffin. It's
I
like
have to.
spot on.
I haven't done it in a while because I'm not. I haven't been watching Family Guy recently, but I have to at least. If I have you in the room right now, I have to at least
Yeah.
stir it up here.
Let's do it.
This is usually the line I go with. What? How the hell are you alive?
Wow, dude.
That was pretty good.
That was. Can you do the little giggle? Can you? Yeah, dude, that's great.
Yeah,
I
what's
always
the
did the Stewie for my sisters, the squiggly line bit. The
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
yeah, the squiggly line. That was always fun. But yeah, man. I mean, I can't I can't watch it too much, so I don't get enough time to practice.
yeah, I mean that makes sense.
My thing is my girlfriend loves it, but then when I start doing the Peter Griffin voice too often, she's like, "All right, knock that
Yeah.
off. It's gotta stop."
See, dude, I think, and like, yeah, it's weird. It's like I'll have it on, and like my mom or my wife will hear something, and they'll start laughing pretty hard, and I'm like, "Whoa, I thought you didn't like it." I think they're like, that was pretty funny, but it's annoying and it's loud. I think they just have to, like, on principle, like the premise of it, they just have to not like it. But yeah,
It's such a funny show.
it's so good. It's so funny. Yes, it's a little dumb, but that's the beauty of it.
Exactly.
Like, you just put it on and you just laugh at some stupid shit. I don't know. I guess we're
It's
just
one of the shows where you could watch and be by yourself, and you could just be like
Just-
rolling laughing.
yeah, right. I guess we're just dudes, just it's just guy talk.
Guys being dudes. Well, not
So
that it's even. Or go ahead, Max. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I have to ask you this. Obviously things have taken off for you over the past couple of years. It probably feels like it's happened so fast. Are you at the point, or ever at the point, where you're like, I just don't want to do impressions right now, or you're like, you're sick of it, or you're like, I'm not in the mood for this shit?
With impressions, yes.
Like someone walks up to you at a bar and they're like, "Oh, dude, do Nick Saban."
Yeah, man, that's it's a fine line, right? Because I'm so thankful and grateful that, like, people would come up to me and want that, right? Like, it's everything that I wanted when I was getting 3 likes on a video and everything, right? So
Yeah,
like that
right.
part, it's great.
For sure.
But at the same time, I'm like, like, I mean, I was
Have a beer.
it was after Purdue lost in the tournament to St. Peter's, and me and my buddy were at a bar, and this kid comes out to me, and he's like, "Joey, what's up, man?" I'm like, "Hey, dude." He's wearing a St. Peter's shirt because he went to IU, of course, right?
Makes sense.
So much sense. So already I'm like, fuck this kid. But so I'm like, "Hey, man, yeah." And he shakes my hand, and then he stands right there at our table, and he literally, right after just shaking my hand, didn't even address my friend, shakes my hand and just goes, "So do an impression."
Like you're a clown.
Didn't give me a, give me a Saban or give me a whatever. Just an impression. And I was just like, I was so caught off guard. And even my buddy was just like, "Dude." And so, it's a weird thing, because I am.
Yeah.
I'm very grateful and very lucky, and anybody who would want to say that they enjoy my work, love talking to them. So I don't want that to come across as like whatever.
No,
But
totally.
yeah, it's just because, like, I tell a story, like, one time I was waiting for drinks at a bar, and a group of dudes, like 2 or 3, come up, and they're like, "Oh, dude," they're like, "Come on, we want to hear some Cowherd. We want to hear some Cowherd." And I was like, "Oh, man, like, I'm glad you guys like it." I was like, "I'm honestly just waiting for my drink and then going to meet my friends. Like, you won't even be able to hear it." Like, and they're like, "Oh." So then, like, I wake up the next morning and I have this direct message on Twitter that got sent at like 2:45 in the morning. And it was like, "You aren't as cool as I thought you were, bro."
Next
I was
time,
gonna say, it
if you
probably
watch
wasn't
that
a compliment.
impression, do it. And I was like, oh, all right.
At that point, they're not even respecting you as a person, though. You know, they're just like, entertain me.
Yeah. So I like that. That's the fine line. And like, to answer your question, no, I never get, when it comes to like the itch or the desire to put together something funny or like, make people laugh or try to put together content that would make people laugh. No, I never have woken up and been like, I don't feel like doing that today. But yeah, when it comes to the impressions, it's just, again, like I just want to be Joey who, is the entertainer who makes people laugh or whatever. I don't want to be like, oh, that guy who does that voice. Like, so it's a little insecurity thing with me, whatever. But I just like to, diversify the skill set, man,
I think that it's makes sense though. I mean, you shouldn't have to go out and like literally just be on call, so to say, 24/7. It's like, all right, there's a time and a place for everything. If it's you're talking and somebody's like, hey, and the conversation leads itself up to that, yeah, fucking do it. Like, yeah,
Right,
it builds
right.
itself up. But just like
but
coming
I'm
up,
always like you're not like, it's not gonna ever be as good as like what you are expecting it to be. Like, I'm 3.5 drinks deep. We're at a loud place, right? Like, we're like, you're not gonna really hear it. It's gonna be weird. Like, just later on, go onto my Instagram or TikTok. It's free. Like, it's not private. And go on there, find it. I put a lot of time into those. Like, I'm gonna make sure those are good. Go do us all a favor and just, you'll enjoy that one. I promise.
It'd be hilarious if you got a T-shirt with like a QR code on it, and then anytime anyone asks you a question, just have them scan that.
the shirt of the future.
That's pretty funny. Would also be Sakak, and people would not like that, I'm sure. But would also be funny. So yeah, I like it.
Fucking hilarious. So I guess last thing before we let you go, I mean, let's talk. I mean, we're Cub fans. Let's talk about your collab with Obvious Shirts. I mean, I'm not that I'm wearing an Obvious shirt. I guess I'm wearing a Dom shirt right now, but
hey, yeah,
one and the same. Yeah, just talk about your collab.
Well, I also have that hoodie that you're rocking there, my friend. Dom is
Phenomenal.
I love Dom. Been following, riding with Dom for as long as I can remember, and it was funny. When more and more people started following me back in like the fall or winter of 2019, all of a sudden I get a message from Dom, and he's like, "Oh, dude, like I didn't realize that like the Joey." Your name that would tweet at me about the Cubs all the time was you're the dude who does the Colin Cowherd or whatever. And I was like, yeah, Dom, like I'm Cubs in 4, baby. Let's go. Like, so it's been great. Love that guy. Love everything that he stands for with the Cubs. But yeah, I mean, Obvious Shirts, I've been a fan of theirs for a while as well. And, before the pandemic even, would get their stuff and their shirts and wore them a lot. And then once my time with Barstool was done, me and Joe from Obvious Shirts, we had, kept in touch and everything. And he reached out and he was just like, hey man, like would love to do something with you. And I was like, oh, hell yeah. Like I love Obvious Shirts. You guys do great stuff. I'm a huge Cubs fan. I love all the things that you do with the Cubs. I was like, let's make it happen. And funny enough, they like him and Devin, they sent over these kind of ideas for what they were thinking for like my brand, if you will. And, back in the day, way back in the day when I was just kind of screwing around in high school, me and I called it Baby Kangaroo Productions. We would do these little stupid like music videos or whatever. And because it was a Joey production. Right. And so maybe a few of you didn't know on this call, which is fine, but yeah, I mean, a lot of people like the logo that they came up with is a Joey, is a baby kangaroo that looks like an @ sign. Because so often, thankfully when I'm out and about or wherever, it'll just be like, Joey, hey, Joey, and in my Twitter, right, it's just Joey, so it's just kind of the brand. And I didn't even give them the idea. They sent it to me and I was like, oh, this is just
That's perfect. Yeah.
perfect.
I did use deductive reasoning on that one. That was my assumption as to why you had the kangaroo.
That was
Right over my head.
Yeah, people were like,
Right over my head.
message me on Instagram or like would reply when I launched with them, and they were like, "What a cool logo, but like, what's it mean?" And I'm just like, come on, guys. Yeah. Let's just
The
think a little
Indianapolis
bit
minor
harder
league
here.
baseball team logo.
Yeah, let's just think a little bit harder here.
On the internet just are not smart.
I've come to this.
And I'm one of them.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's like we're all collectively dumb. It's weird. But so yeah, dude, it's been great. It's been live for about a month now. The Joey collection on obviousshirts.com. And it's not just my brand with my logo, the little kangaroo. It's kind of all encompassing for me and what I love. So a lot of what we talk, pretty much everything that we talked about here on this interview is, there's some Cubs stuff, some Star Wars stuff, some Pittsburgh vibes. We just launched our Joey 500 collection. So for people who are coming down, you guys, if you're coming down or whoever, the month of May collection and vibe is up there right now. Very excited about that. So I love what they do, and I'm excited to be a partner with them.
Nice. Well,
That's awesome.
before we do let you go, because we don't want to keep you on too much longer, this is a Chicago podcast. Don't think of it as a quiz, no pressure if you don't want to, but are there any Chicago athletes or celebrities that you think of and have an impression that's kind of ready to go that you could just leave our listeners with?
There he is.
I'm trying to think who do you think has like a distinct voice?
I mean, to me, all you guys do. Like talking to you right now.
Oh, you think we have distinct voices?
Well, not so much like you guys.
Oh,
have
like Chicago voices.
You're
Chicago accents.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
have
it's
distinct
terrible.
voices. Yeah, the accent. Like the accent you're talking right now. Like, who do you think has distinct voices right now? It's.
I was actually going to ask you to do us if you picked up on anything
Go
during
down
this
to the
interview.
Bears game. Yeah. I'll go at the Wrigley, the Bears game. Right. Like it's so funny because I have cousins who are from the Chicago area as well. And so, my dad's name, and my dad, everybody calls him Joseph in the family. We all call him Joseph, but they call him Joseph. And we all laugh about it. But Chicago athletes are people. I'm trying to think.
Or if you have like you do like an Italian uncle, anything like that.
I didn't say that would probably be easier. Maybe just like your typical Chicagoan, your typical Bears fan bitching about Mitch Trubisky.
I hate to disappoint, but I really don't. Like my uncle would probably just come off as like East Coast uncle. It wouldn't be Chicago. It would be, hey Frankie, yo Joe, where like that's like Italian East Coast, whatever. Right?
Yeah.
But shit, you actually were you're just doing it when you're mocking, or I think you're mocking me, or it was spot on. But I get that all the time where I say like my A's and it's like I don't even realize that. I guess I have a Chicago accent.
Oh, Chicago accent, big time. Stanley Cup, Gold Bears, Stanley. Yeah, I mean, just like you said it right there. I didn't even realize I have a Chicago accent.
Hey, that was a perfect. How
do you not realize that, man? Listen to yourself.
Perfect
that's
dick
funny,
impression,
though,
right
because
there.
like when I went to college at Ball State, and so there was a few tricklers down there. My wife went to Purdue, so I was up Purdue. A lot of like region people, a lot of Chicago people, want to be Chicago people, whatever up there, and so they would kind of have the same kind of dialect as you guys have, but they would kind of think of me like they were like, yeah, you're kind of like a little hick, like a little southern. And I'm like,
Right. Thinking that we sound normal.
Yeah, because everybody up there to you're the A's and the
Hammering the vowels.
Everybody the A's and the
You're making sure you know every vowel and every word.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like you when you said my last name, I knew that was exactly how you're gonna say it, right? Just because that's you fellas are up there, and that's okay. So I'll tell you what, I will work on the Chicago thing. I will work on a Chicago character or someone to have an impersonation from there. But right
That's
off the bat,
perfect.
yeah, I don't got
No, that's perfectly fine. No, I mean you nailed it. You nailed me.
You
at
already
least.
nailed it. You already nailed it.
That was actually the best one we could have asked for.
Yeah, I mean, fuck. I'm just generic Chicago person number one.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry.
I get it a lot. Well, Joey, honestly, we can't thank you enough for coming on. Phenomenal guest. We love it. We love you. We love everything you're doing. Again, thank you for coming on, Max. Ty, I don't know if you have anything.
What's your Instagram and Twitter one more time? I'm sure everyone's already following.
I
if they've been
appreciate
listening,
that. Just everywhere on social is just my name, at Joey Mulinaro, Mulinaro. So TikTok, Instagram, Twitter,
Starting up a new YouTube channel because now that my contract is up with Barstool and I'm moving on, they kind of had to get that, they kept that and I go mine away. So I had to, if you want to on YouTube, go subscribe there. That would be phenomenal. But yeah, fellas, I really appreciate it. This was a ton of fun. Glad you guys are Family Guy. It sounds like we just need to have some beers together, man. Family Guy,
Yeah, for sure.
Cubs,
some
Steelers.
Cubs.
I mean, just my kind of dudes. So anytime, I appreciate it. Go Cubs, go Steelers, and thanks again.